Hello, you beautiful people. Mwah. Love to see you. How are you guys doing today? I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. Anyways, today I thought I would talk about what the next big thing and what needs to happen around it. So, if you're not living under a rock, I'm sure you've noticed that video games as a whole, and pretty much the internet as a whole, are dying, right? It's been infested by left-wing ideas. It's been turned into a global homo clown world. And pretty much the only way you can enjoy video games is by not interacting with communities or being by yourself and just staring at a monitor. I've been playing a bunch of 4X games as of late for fun and all sorts of random shenanigans like that. Just old single-player games. I've been backlogging and downloading all of, these, FOSS recreations of a lot of online games. Like you can find, there's a RuneScape 2009 solo thing you can download and play. I've just been backing all this up in case the internet goes down or there's some sort of horrible thing that happens in the near future. Haha, who would ever expect anything like that? Yeah, just in casesies. And anyways, what I've noticed, or what I've seen, is that, there's not a lot of forward thought going forward about how do we protect the next big thing from the global homo, normie invasion, right? So one of the things that we failed as far as video games goes is we failed to put up boundaries early and often that kept communities segregated and kept people out of our gaming spaces. And so going forward, the next thing we have to do is we have to establish at least a set of rules or a set of ideas that will keep people from invading whatever the newest nerd chic hobby is and prevents it from what's happening then. Let's be clear here, gaming died with Gamergate and, it lost versus the mainstream media and all of those other people. So that was a complete disaster. And going forward, we have to think about, okay, so how do we protect our hobbies and what comes next? Maybe it's AI, some form of AI-generated zontent or something like that. And the reality is that, at least at the start, it's going to be gate-kept just by technology, just by having to adopt new technology, because it's going to be rough around the edges. And we'll recognize what it is when there's something new and exciting that's rough around the edges. What looks like AI probably is the next big thing. But who knows, there might be something big in relation to gaming or something like that, and we have to immediately pounce on it and then create communities that'll be hidden and that'll be away from the prying eyes of the public. And we have to, harness that fresh energy and make something in which, there aren't going to be women involved. There aren't going to be all these horrible shenanigans involved. We need the old boys club, basically. And we need it as a place we can go and we can sort of have our male geek-only spaces. And yeah, some girls can be geeks or whatever. After what's happened with video games, I'm sorry, but it's just not worth the risk. I'm thinking about actually creating some gamer spaces of my own besides just my Discord, which link in the bottom, by the way, if you want to come chat with us. We're a bunch of racist, crazed lunatics. It's great. But, so going forward, one of the ideas about where we should go and what we should do is the next big thing is where we need to all meet up, whatever it be. It's probably not going to be just some private server. I'm pretty sure they're dead at this point going forward. But whatever the next big thing is, we should all meet up and then just create segregated communities and just not let people in. There's going to be an end-to-end encrypted version of Discord that comes out someday. I'm going to hop on it when it does, and then that'll be where I start building communities, because the Discord now is just, for whatever. Discord will ban you if you are a little too edgy. It's a miracle my account hasn't been banned given the things I've typed, but I guess no one just reports me because I'm so wholesome and cute. But at the end of the day, we're going to have to go and figure out what the next big thing is and where we can all meet up, and we're going to have to isolate it and then just create a core that's separate from the main game and all by ourselves. And that's the only way really long term we're going to be able to create gaming communities and keep them that way. And then there has to be extremely tough policing of who you accept into this new community, which is why, something that's at least technically savvy to get into, I think Revolt says it might have end-to-end encryption soon on its client, in which case, I'm swapping over the second that's actually true. And then that's the place where at least the meta communication or the out-of-game communication can have. And then whatever the next big thing, be it virtual reality games, be it AI-generated games, be it something like that, we'll see what it is. We need to harness the freshness of that and then create a space just for gamers and then just hold that as long as humanly possible. And it's going to be an invite-only sort of affair with some pretty tough, rigorous checking. And by definition, this is going to be much smaller than the general whole community, but it's going to be of such high quality and much higher quality that it'll make it worth it, as opposed to interacting with the modern day individuals, we'll call them, the pride flag wearing. Like, you can pretty much tell who you don't want in your club by who has been vaxxed, who wears a mask, who supports Ukraine, all of these things. So, it's very basic to understand what type of people you don't want to associate with, and it sadly is the vast majority of people. Like, the vast majority of people are cattle, and there is no saving them no matter what you do, right? So ideally, we need to cordon those people off and let them go destroy like the main sector of whatever it is, and then we can have our base sector of it. And whatever the next big thing is, we're going to have to do something like that and get it done immediately, and just start getting based boys in there and just fully excluding anyone that isn't absolutely committed to at least having a free speech early 2000s type of internet culture. And yeah, so going forwards though, I'm on the lookout for what the next big thing is. I'm sure a lot of you people are, but you can also apply this to your guild or your community or your life or anything. If you're like someone that's trying to make a community or make a world or make anything sort of, pretty much you have to exclude, by definition, all women, anyone who supports Ukraine, because let's face it, you're not a competent thinker if you somehow care about Ukraine. Like, I get it, war happens, whatever, but, realistically, it doesn't have any impact on you in the first world. And why in the world are you for sending these people ungodly amounts of tax dollars? What you are is you're a puppet who's trying to prop up a proxy war between America and Russia for no real reason. And it's just ridiculous. Like, this fifth generational warfare shenanigans needs to stop. We're playing with nuclear weapons here. Like, we're just going to send your enemies missiles and troops and everything, haha, but we're not at war with you, haha. Like, that shit's only going to last for so long before it turns into an open hot war. And I'm not interested in that, just like most people. I want to bring my country down from the inside through no effort, through just natural protesting by, not participating in society and letting things crumble. You want an open and hot war to get me killed. Like, there's a very big difference between us, and you're a cattle that isn't even thinking about what you want. You're just bending to the elite's whims because they have all the power. Same thing with anyone who wears a mask. Like, you aren't capable of critical thought if you wore the mask, if you got the jab. Like, you know what the most common trait amongst all anti-vaxxers is, out of all of them? They have a PhD. So, I would just say, think about that. Or, well, not anti-vaxxers. Let me rephrase that. The most common trait among anyone who didn't get the COVID vaccine is they have a PhD. There, I phrased it properly. Sorry for spreading fake news there. I don't know about that, but I do know that pretty much having a PhD is your number one qualifier for having avoided the mRNA vaccine. So, it is what it is, right? Anti-vaxxer has its own connotation there, which we won't really discuss, but when you're talking about trying to figure out what type of community you want to build, you have to establish some basics and then go from there and work towards getting at least your society into a place where you have people that think for themselves in it. And that excludes, what percentage of the American population got the vax? Was it 88, I think? So you're going to have to exclude around 88% of the population just as a baseline, And then there are other factors too. Like, obviously you don't want women in your gaming organization because they're not really there to play video games, they're just there to attention whore. So, by definition you can't have people like that aren't really even interested in whatever you're doing. And who knows what the next big thing may be. It might not even be video games, but the next big tech thing is something that we need to keep the general populace out of, because it's too easily for BlackRock and all these other multinational corporations to manipulate them into destroying it. And I'm not really interested in talking with another Blackwater shill, some sort of goy slop consuming, mongoloid. Like, I can't even play like regular multiplayer games anymore just because I just see the soy in these people and it's absolutely disgusting. And yeah, that's the sad state of affairs. So hopefully going forward we can organize things in a way that will benefit us. Have a nice day. Peace.